Welcome, everyone. I wonder if I could get people to take their seats. War Eagle. And welcome to the 2016 Women's Philanthropy Board Annual Fall Luncheon. It is great to be an Auburn Tiger. There is nothing like fall on the plains, and we're excited about the beginning of a new academic year. This has been particularly true for WPB, which is beginning its 15th year of providing educational, mentoring, and philanthropic programming. The topic that Bruce Pearl will be addressing today and the theme for WPB's 2016-2017 academic year is Enrich the World Through Service. Also, let me say that this is a very special day for another reason, another special year for another reason, actually. In 2016, the College of Human Sciences at Auburn celebrates its centennial year. I will say that we've become who we are today from a proud past, blending our land-grant heritage with a rapidly changing information age. To commemorate this, I think that it's a landmark year, and we wanted to give you just a glimpse of the college's 100-year history. Don't worry about the time we're going to spend on this. Produced by our communications and marketing team, here is 100 years of the College of Human Sciences in 100 seconds. You recognize any faces? Changing fashions, changing hairstyles, it will lock you in. You can't glean a lot from 100 seconds, and I'm aware of that. But I think one thing it clearly showed is that our college has its roots in women's education. Keep in mind that Human Sciences was officially launched at Auburn in 1916. 4 years before women even won the fight for the right to vote in 1920. And throughout our history, we have joined the fight for the rights of all people, reaching from Seneca Falls to the March from Selma, Alabama, to Stonewall Inn. And to this day, the College of Human Sciences is mission-driven, and that is certainly true of the Women's Philanthropy Board and all of the programming out of the Carey Center, such as Camp Eye Care and Real Sense, Real Change. WPB is reinforcing the college's mission to improve the quality of life for our communities locally and globally. To that end, and to further celebrate our centennial year, I want to mention to you that on Sunday, December 11th, we'll we will host our 23rd annual International Quality of Life Awards at the UN in New York City. I'm pleased to share that this year's laureate will be Dr. Judith Rodin, who had an outstanding academic career, became provost at Yale and the first female president of an Ivy League university at University of Pennsylvania, and she now serves as the president of the Rockefeller Foundation. In addition, I'm especially pleased to announce that the IQLA Lifetime Achievement Award will be presented to the Drummond family of Jasper, Alabama. Some of the most outstanding leaders and humanitarians in this state of Alabama, as well as just great, great friends of Auburn University. Let's give a hand to the Drummonds because I know some of them are here. I hope all of you will consider joining us for the IQLA event, and I'm sure that Coach Pearl would love to have you join other Auburn fans, because the following day, on Monday, December 12th, the Auburn's men's basketball team takes on Boston College in Madison Square Garden in what's being called Under Armour Reunion. So we're looking forward to a great time in New York and a great, Bruce, basketball season for the Auburn Tigers. It is so wonderful to see so many people here today, so many students, faculty, staff, WPB members who are supporting us every day of the week, which we greatly appreciate. But there are a few people that I would like to especially recognize and ask them to stand. I'm going to begin with our President and First Lady of Auburn University, Jay and Susie Gouge. And if you would hold your applause while I introduce the others. Auburn University trustees, Mike Demaribus and his wife, Lee. Bob Dumas and his wife, Martha. Alabama Secretary of State, John Merrill. Provost Tim Businger. Vice President for Development and President, Auburn University Foundation, Jane DeFalco Parker. Auburn's General Counsel, Lee Armstrong. Secretary to the Board of Trustees, Grant Davis and his wife, Nancy. And Gretchen Van Valkenburg, Vice President for Alumni Affairs and Executive Director, Auburn Alumni Association. Help me welcome them. In addition, I want to mention that WPB is led by an outstanding executive committee. And these are the worker bees, and we have so much to thank them for. Their names are on the inside of your program. Could I ask all of the executive committee board members, past and present, to please stand and let us recognize you. I'm not going to ask him to stand at this time, but I would also like to recognize Zeke Smith, Vice President of External Affairs for Alabama Power, who a little later will be introducing our featured speaker. Today's event and next year's spring symposium are sponsored by Alabama Power, which gave a very generous gift to establish the WPB Distinguished Speakers Fund. Now, let me say that I sincerely hope that you find our program today inspirational and uplifting. With Bruce Pearl, how could it possibly go any other way? So enjoy your lunch.
Good afternoon. I think you all are having a good time. We thank you all so much for being here today. Zeke Smith just said there's a lot of energy in this room, and I agree with that. I think we must be excited about who we're going to hear from today. My name is Sandy Coker, and I'm the president of the WPB for the 2015 through 17 term. The WPB is unique in that it is primarily funded through the generosity of corporate partners, businesses, and individuals. The WPB corporate partners are featured on the back page of the program, and at this time, I'd like for them to please stand and be recognized as I call their names. Alabama Power. Thank you. Alpha. Chambliss King Architects. Auburn University Outreach Office. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama. EAMC Foundation. The Flowers Store. The Hotel at Auburn University and Dixon Conference Center. The Kiplinger Foundation. Roundhouse. UBS Valorum Wealth Management, Verizon, and Warren Averett. Join me in thanking them, please. We are also very pleased to share that to date, there are around 170 individuals who are recognized as visionary, legacy, benefactor, associate, Phil and Phil Jr. donors, and 11 business partners. Today's program is also funded by our numerous table sponsors. We extend special thanks to Diamond and Platinum table sponsors, Alabama Power, Auburn University's President's Office, Becky Thorne Carroll and Beth Thorne Stooks, and Babs Anderson. Thank you for your investment. As Dean Hinton mentioned, the sponsoring donor for WPB's programming this year is Alabama Power. We appreciate Alabama Power's generous support of the Women's Philanthropy Board and Camp iCare, Real Sense, Real Change, and many other programs here at Auburn. We are honored that Mr. Zeke Smith, Executive Vice President of External Relations for Alabama Power, is with us today, and he will introduce Coach Pearl. Please join me in showing gratitude to Alabama Power for their investment in our programs and in welcoming Zeke Smith.
Well, it's indeed an honor to be one of the sponsors today and just play a small part in such a great endeavor today. And it's especially an honor for me to introduce Coach Pearl. You know, Coach Pearl has spent over 21 years, well, I guess you're heading into your 22nd year as a head basketball coach at the Division I level. Many, many great success stories, almost a 700% winning percentage. National Coach of the Year, 6 years. One of only 7 active coaches that have taken their teams to at least 10 Sweet 16 appearances. And right now in Auburn, we have the #1 recruiting class in the country. I think that deserves a round of applause. He's had 17, he and his teams have been to the NCAA 17 times, and he's had 18 postseason appearances. Just so much that he has done on the court all throughout his career. Last 2 years there at Auburn, his first year here at Auburn, he took a team his first year deep into the SEC tournament with 3 wins, which was the first time that had been done here at Auburn for Auburn basketball since 1985. Last year, wow, injury after injury after injury. He had to deal with a bunch of injuries for our team, and our team still competed on the court very, very well. Great home wins against Tennessee, Kentucky, and Alabama. I think that deserves. But you know what? The thing that I've noticed about Coach Pearl the most in being around him, and it is so fitting that he's a speaker here today, because he's all about making a difference. One thing I've noticed about Coach Pearl is that anyone he touches, he makes a difference in their lives. He's all about elevating this university, elevating the students in which he coaches, elevating this state. And that's what I've noticed about you, Coach Pearl, since you walked onto this campus. It's all about making a difference, and it's about service. And we know that's what WPB is all about. It's about service. I know that's your theme for this year, enriching lives through service. And that's what Coach Pearl and Brandy, his wife, do. Coach Pearl and Brandy, they have 4 children, 2 daughters and 2 sons. Stephen serves on the staff with Coach Pearl, and they have just been such a great asset to this great community. So with that, before Coach Pearl comes up, though, let's look at a little video and then we'll welcome Coach Pearl, okay?
KT Harrell, Simeon Bowers, Jordan Granger. Oh, Donitz with the drive of the tomahawk jam!
I see everything I dream about and wish I had. Ain't no time to kick it, nothing come sleeping for a dream. I'm going to get hustle, ready, that's my true religion. Nothing come sleeping for a dream.
Now to KT, can't shoot three. Got it! He got it!
You guys laid the foundation. You guys laid the foundation. Proud of you guys. Together on three. 1, 2, 3. Together.
Please welcome Auburn University men's coach, Coach Bruce Pearl.
War Eagle. Well, if that don't get you fired up, I don't know, nothing does, man. So last night, my coaching staff and I were up in Huntsville, Alabama, and we were doing some recruiting, and we were working, and at the end of the day, to make sure that we put in a full day, we said, let's stop and see some friends and some donors. So we went to this dove hunt. Yeah, and the guys were all in fatigues, and they had guns and stuff. And I told Chad, we're not at the dove hunt anymore. This is a different group for sure. And of course, for that group, I didn't need any notes. I didn't need to have much preparation. And so I came in this afternoon, and I didn't think I really needed any notes until I saw Dr. Gouge and Susie, so I started writing some stuff down. And then I really found out what I was supposed to talk about when June told me that I was supposed to talk about inspiring others to serve, and trying to enrich the world through service. And then I realized that I'm sitting up here, I'm preaching to the choir. You guys are in it, and you're doing it. And so I'm not sure how much I can share because I'm preaching to the choir. So therefore, I'm going to apologize in advance because I'm going to speak to you from the heart, not always from my head. And so you'll forgive me if you will. Several years ago, I received an award for community service. And it was very conflicting. And I tried to explain upon receiving this award how so. I'm Jewish, in case any of you didn't know that. I do tend to wear it on my sleeve, talk about it from time to time. And I'm blessed to be able to live in this part of the country and be able to practice my faith and share that with you. I'm married to a wonderful Christian woman. So, my goal, just to let you know, this is totally inappropriate, but my goal is if I could get really successful here, my wife's favorite 2 Jewish men are me and Jesus, okay? All right? All right. So obviously, because I'm walking down that path and and she's working on me every day, and I've come a long way. But y'all have your Savior, and you have that way to get into heaven as Christ being your Savior. For those of you that are believers, okay. But as a Jewish man, I don't have that covenant. We have a covenant with God, but we don't have that. And so for us, really, it's through the works, if you can, and know that maybe we can put ourselves in position to do the works. And so here's where I'm getting to. So why do you do what you do? Why do you serve in the community? Why do you try to make a difference? Why? Are you doing it for yourself and for self-service? Are you doing it, to please God? Are you doing it so that my wife will, think that I'm working to try to become a good man? Why are we doing it? And so then and then the other thing too is, are you doing it to try to develop your program and get more people to come to the games, because the more people that come to the games, the better chance we have to win. The more we win, the more I get to stay and keep my job and all that stuff. So why am I doing it? Why are we doing the work that we're doing? Why? And then, so on top of that, I explain to people, I said, and being Jewish, I'm trying to do this stuff to please God. So here's the deal. All I'm doing is trying to keep a job and get into heaven. That's all I'm doing. So why are you giving me an award for that? And so you're sort of conflicted. But I know that we're always, trying to do it for the right reasons. Thinking because this is the Women's Philanthropy Board, I wanted to tell you some stories about Pat Summitt, because I get asked a question all the time. By the way, at the end of my talk, if we have time, I'd like to be able to answer a few questions, which I enjoy a lot. Pat was an amazing woman, was an amazing leader, was an amazing servant. She created a brand called the Lady Vols that she saw things in her ladies that they didn't see in themselves. Those ladies went in every day trying to live up to the expectations that Pat had set for them. Just amazing. And she set the bar really high for herself all the time. And she led by example. And she was a good friend. And she wanted to, but she was also a tough girl. And she knew what time it was, and she knew what our jobs were. And so I remember after my first year at Tennessee, she called me into her office, and we were going to have one of those "How's Bruce doing" conversations. But she really, so I said, "How you doing?" I said, "Pat, I'm doing great." "No, how are you really doing?" She wanted to get into that heart. And how's Brandy, and how are the kids, and how are people treating you here, and do you like it, so on and so forth. And yes, Pat, yes. I said, but there is something. I said, people have been wonderful, but we have had, a lot of success. What happens if I don't keep winning? She said, well, Bruce, we love you, but we'll miss you, right? we love you, but we will miss you. So Pat kept it real. She was always very, very much a realist. And so, for me, I don't know exactly how or why I got into coaching from this standpoint. When I was a young athlete, I don't mind telling you, right before high school, I was the best athlete in town. I was the first kid picked, and we were just very, very fortunate. Football, basketball, baseball, it didn't matter. I dominated. And then my freshman year in high school, I had a career-ending knee injury, and I wound up being an all-conference first baseman, and I wound up, playing a little bit, but I never, ever, ever had to walk on at Boston College, never. And something got taken away from me, which really changed me in very, very many ways. And but being on teams and being in coaching, I'll tell you something about intercollegiate athletics. We are colorblind. We don't see race. We don't see religion. We got white shirts on and they got red shirts on. Let's go kill those guys in red shirts. That's what we do. And the rest, and the world could take such a lesson from how we go about things in that way. It's simply incredible. So, a few years ago when I lost my job at Tennessee for not telling the truth to the NCAA, it was an incredibly difficult time, still is, for me. But I lost my ministry. I didn't just lose my job coaching. I didn't lose my job just trying to win basketball games. And sure, I love teaching, I love coaching, and I love beating hell out of John Calipari. And by the way, nobody's beating Cal in the league more than me. Aren't you glad I'm your coach? But, it's the ministry. It's really trying to make a difference in young people's lives. And I'll tell you right now, I was talking to Dr. Gouge beforehand, we got a tremendous challenge on our hands. One of the things that we don't realize is because they're so big physically, you forget how young they are and how inexperienced they are in life. And you also realize how much older you are and how many more experiences that you've had to shape who you are. And so when you begin to talk about patriotism and the flag, and I can't believe some of the things that I'm hearing, and I'm not hating on them at all. I'm just realizing we're different. We've had different times. We've had different experience. They didn't have Vietnam. They didn't have the World Wars. They didn't have friends and relatives coming home in a casket with a flag covered over it. They don't even hardly remember 9/11 and different things that happened to us in our way. So we're trying to find ways to kind of educate those guys and get them that experience, get them that exposure, because they are leaders. And one of the great things about being at Auburn, one of the different, unique things about being at Auburn is when I'm here in the hotel, the weekends of when our kids are moving in, and we're recruiting and we've got parents in and so on and so forth, I can be there in the hotel having breakfast, and I can tell the parents that are dropping off that first child for school and they're crying over breakfast, right? And I can tell the KG veterans that say, here, just don't get in trouble, don't get anybody pregnant, you'll be fine. Just, that was inappropriate. June, I told you that I would say some things. Oh, he didn't just say that. That's why Brandy doesn't come to any of these anymore, because she's like, I can't believe you just. But the one thing I'm able to then walk away from and or visit with them is, he's a good boy, isn't he? And he really wants to be a good boy, doesn't he? She's a good girl, isn't she? Because they chose to go to a school where they would be surrounded by others that are trying to be like them or trying to be the best that they can be. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And now we got to get them right and educated and serving in the right way, and then go out there and be that shining light for others to be able to see and to inspire others. So when you ask me to come in here and talk about inspiring others, you're the ones that are inspiring others. You're the ones that are inspiring others by the way you're living, by the way you're parenting, by the way you are in your community trying to make a difference. You're the shining light. And for me in coaching, that's what the spotlight is. The spotlight is on that more than anything. And that's why, so when I got fired, it was still such a devastating thing, because of that light shined on a coach or a teacher or a university president or somebody that's in a leadership position like that. So, obviously very, very blessed to be here. You can't ask others to serve if you're not willing to serve yourself. And one of the things that I do say is you can't serve if you're not called upon. So when I say that, my assistant Chad Pruitt goes, oh, no, he's not doing it again. He's not saying, how can I serve you? But yes, I am. Because there are limits to what we have to do, and we have to spend time in the gym and work and do these different things. But that's what we're here for. As staff here at the university, we have that opportunity. So in the things that you're doing and the places you're making a difference, and I know we're already beginning to work together. I'm having the pleasure of sitting with Jane Parker and talking just a little bit. She doesn't like to talk about it an awful lot, but it's just a fact that in Auburn's campaign, because this is Auburn, a year and a half ahead of schedule, Auburn has reached its goal of well over $1 billion. Dr. Goose, Susie, Jane, congratulations. She's got the answer. And the answer is, once again, it's not been that difficult because of you, because of the support that Auburn receives, because everybody out here trying to make a difference. And it's a very, very easy ask. So, couple other thoughts from my standpoint. But my players don't care how much I know till they know how much I care. It's really true. And when you're working either in nonprofit or you're working in philanthropy, so often, that's the case, that the people that we're trying to assist can't get there themselves. They can't get there without that support, without that help, so on and so forth. And if you really think about the different areas that you're working in, the people that we're trying to help are really wondering whether anybody really does care about them in their positions in life, in their state, so on and so forth. And I just got to thinking, I said, the best way to hurt somebody's feelings sometimes, like my dad and I will fight like cats and dogs. He's coming in today, and he's going to be here this weekend. He's going to have more advice from me how to coach. He's going to want to go down and talk to Gus and tell him what to do. He's going to want, it's unbelievable. But that's my dad. Love him to death, right? And the debate is Monday night, right? Oh my God, we're going to have to be in separate rooms, right? My dad and I. It's going to be off the chart. My wife said, you set this up. You did this on purpose. But he and I can differ and we can argue and we can fight. But the biggest way I can hurt his feelings? To ignore him. So many people feel ignored. And if I were even to begin to attempt to inspire you, who are those people? Let's find them. Let's serve them. Let's help them. Let's let them know that we care. Again, I'm preaching to the choir. because this is what you're doing. I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. And so what do I try to do is I try to do that myself as best I possibly can, because I can't fix the world. I can't fix everything as I want to. We're going back to in my locker room right now. How are we going to honor the flag and respect the flag during the national anthems? How am I going to be able to also be able to hear my players? And many of my young African-American players will tell you that they're afraid. And I can't tell them whether they're right or wrong, but it's how they feel. And I can't tell you whether it's deserved or undeserved, but it's how they feel. And if that's how they feel, how can I support them? How can they want to make a difference, and I'm glad they want to make a difference and not just play the game. I'm glad the young people, I want all our young people on campus to feel like I can make a difference. Aren't you trying to make a difference in some way? Whether it's through protest or service or recognition or something, we're working through all this. It's real, it's happening. And again, along the lines of, so for me, I got to expose how I feel. I got to bring the military in there. I got to bring the law enforcement. We got to have the dialogue. And then they're going to have to see how they feel through that educational process, but then also understand that there's a responsibility both to represent what's on the front of your jersey, and that's Auburn, and also what's on the back of your jersey, that's your own family name. And so we're working through all this right now. Couple more things, and I'm going to take your questions. I do get asked this question sometimes. In coaching, when you're winning, they're worried you might leave. And when you're losing, they're packing your bags. So we're always coming or going. Okay? I just want you to know what my goal is. I am tired of finding a new church and a new synagogue. I'm tired of finding a new doctor. I'm tired of making new friends. My wife, Brandy, and I want to win more and stay here for a long time. We are very committed to being here at Auburn. I want you to know that. This is silly, but this is kind of who I am, and this might help you in your walk and your ability to serve. One of my favorite movies, and it really doesn't happen until the very end of the movie, is Saving Private Ryan. And I have a hard time sometimes telling the story without feeling the emotion of it. But those troops went all over to try to find him and try to get him to get home, to try to save him. And when Tom Hanks, who had taken a bullet, and you knew at the end of the movie Tom Hanks was probably going to die, hoping he wouldn't, and all he did was he whispered to Private Ryan, "Earn this. Earn this." He didn't need to say anything else. So the next scene is he's back there with his wife and his family behind him. And he asked his wife, "Was I a good man? Was I a good father?" That's all he wanted. And for me, that's what I want. Someday I want to be looking at my wife and say, "Was I a good man?" And I can't do this without serving others. I can't do this without serving my family. I can't do this without serving Auburn and the people that gave me the opportunity to be the coach. That's kind of where it's at. And the reason why I share that with you, sorry that I got upset, but I'm preaching to the choir. You know what I'm talking about. And so let's take advantage of the blessings that God's given us. Let's continue to go out there and serve and find those that are ignored, that need the help. And we know we're blessed, and we know that, who much was given, much is expected. So I'm here to not inspire you. I'm here to thank you. And I'm here to work with you. So questions. Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any basketball questions? What? Now that I've completely ruined the room, right? I'm not that soft, really I'm not. Trust me, my players don't think I'm that soft, trust me. And then about an hour and a half, they're going to experience some of that.
You ready for a question?
Yeah.
Well, how about a comment more so than a question? I go to the tip-off club and hear you speak a good bit. And one of the things that I notice is you're constantly apologizing for how passionate you are. And I want to tell you that, at least for me, it's very welcome. And you don't need to apologize anymore.
Okay. you're not very talented. You got to make up for it in other areas. Passion's one of my areas. So, anybody have any other questions? Hey, if the football coach was here, you'd have all kinds of questions, right? I'm trying to make this more of a basketball community. It's amazing. You'd be telling me what plays to run and what to do. That's why sometimes, like when we win or lose, I could say, yeah, we were down 2 touchdowns. That way, so you knew we were down 14. If I said down 14, you wouldn't know. But if I said down two touchdowns, you guys would all know what that means. Coach.
Tell us a little bit about your upcoming group.
Okay, we've got a really good group. Zeke talked a little bit about it. Zeke, wonderful. Thank you so much. Alabama Power has been such a great sponsor, and of course, as you do read off the sponsors that are here tonight, a lot of folks that have been, they make it easy, don't they? They do make it easy. Zeke's going, thanks, Coach, for telling me they make it easy. Call Zeke. He'll do it, right? No, appreciate that. I have 13 scholarships. In my first year, we brought 6 new players in. That's almost half the team. Last year, I brought 6 new players in. That's almost half the team. This year, we've got 6 or maybe 7 new players. That's more than half the team. That's just not normal. And so what has to happen sometimes for some success is we got to have, most of my guys don't remember the pain of the first year or the second year. And we haven't had that combined experience. Remember when we were down 2 touchdowns and we did this and we did this? I don't have that. So when our team plays in their first game against North Florida, a team that went to the NIT last year, the year before had gone to the NCAA tournament, and they have 3 or 4 starters back, they've got 90 or 100 starts together. They've been there, they've done that. My guys don't have that. But I'll tell you what I have. I now have, for the first time at Auburn, 10 or 11 really good basketball players that are very anxious to learn. They're working really hard in practice, but they're trying to get each other, make each other better. I have depth. So one of the things that we'll be able to do is try to play faster a little bit. We'll be able to run. We'll be able to press. It'll be, I think, even a more exciting style of play. And we've created we probably have the toughest schedule, non-conference schedule of any team in our conference and one of the tops in the country. We play 5 home games. We play 4 neutral site games. 4 neutral site games. We're playing Boston College in Madison Square Garden. We're playing Oklahoma and the Hall of Fame Classic. We're playing Purdue and Texas Tech in a challenge in Cancun. That's like four top 25 teams actually, maybe not BC. And then we're on the road to UAB, on the road to UConn, and on the road to Texas Christian. So it's daunting. But if we can win some of the games that we're not supposed to win, and it'll get us ready for confidence play. My biggest concern would simply be this: confidence. There are 2 things that give you confidence. 1, history of past success. A history of past success gives you confidence. I don't know why I can do this, but I've always been able to do this. I think I can do this. And I've had a history of past success, so I still have confidence that what we do works. But my players don't have a lot of history of past success. That's a problem. The second way you build confidence is preparation. Preparation. If you feel prepared, and that's what we're working on right now, getting our guys to be prepared. And I think you put those 2 things together, and it's going to be very exciting. I hope to get to postseason this year. I think it's a team that can get to postseason, and I think by next year, I would say NCAA tournament, or I can't imagine what I'll do to myself if we don't make the NCAA tournament next year. But anyways, that's my goal right there. Yes?
So this semester, I'm lucky enough to have 2 student athletes in my freshman class. And as a teacher, I think that academics are, up here. That's super important. But they're here only because athletics is sponsoring, is paying for them to be able to come here and have an education. So as a teacher, do you have any takeaways for us on how to let our students know that we can get down in the trenches and see where they're at to better serve them as athletes and scholars? Because I see them struggling every day, and I know how hard it is to excel in both academics and athletics.
What class do you teach?
I teach interior design, and yes, we have athletes there.
Do you have a couple of my guys?
They're 2 female athletes. I've got a swimmer, and I'm having a moment now.
Okay, because if it was a couple of my guys, I'd want a grade check. I want an attendance report. I want to know how we're doing.
I'll have a report for you by the end of the week, I'm sure.
I'll just say this. I don't know. I'd love to talk to you afterwards. Can we talk? It'd be great, because I'd like to spend some time with you about that. Because it would probably be a really, really long answer. Yeah, many of the student athletes are here to compete, and the scholarship helped get them there. Some of our student athletes aren't as prepared academically to be able to compete and perform. You know, if there's another area that I'm really passionate about, you know, when it comes to a lot of my politics and things like that, I'm very conservative, and I'm very much about giving people an opportunity. But then, you know, go out there and get it done for yourself. No excuses. But when it comes to education, I really, really think that every child deserves the opportunity through public education to have the chance. And I can just tell you that because of the way the property tax base or things like that in every state, in many states, it's unbelievable the difference between some areas where there's college campuses and incredible teaching and faculty and facilities, and either rural America or inner city America, it's worse than night and day. And yet our responsibility in higher education is to take those young people and get them caught up and continue to give them a chance. And so as Auburn continues to become a better and better and better school, ACT's higher, better student body, better faculty, our athletes, the gap sometimes grows a little bit. It's not that our athletes aren't getting any worse or whatever. They're NCAA qualifiers, they're eligible, but the gap is bigger. And so there has to be a tremendous investment from the university to get those guys caught up. And there is. Our student services for athletics is tremendous. What takes me 10 minutes can take one of my student athletes 2 hours to get done and to get done right. And if you ever have an opportunity to hire a student athlete or interview a student athlete, I'll tell you one reason why you might want to consider doing it. These kids get up early. They get up early and they train before most of the kids on campus have even thought about setting their alarm. They go to class because we have class checkers and monitor. They go to every class. They got to weight train during the day. They've got to come to practice. They've got to they're growing. They got to get their rest. They're exhausted. They've been disciplined. They know how to train. They know how to compete. They have had success. They've had failure. They're ready. They're ready for whatever you have for them out there, way more so than students that may not have had to keep the rigors of that schedule, so on and so forth. So I appreciate our faculty to the sensitivity to the demands, the time demands, the emotional demands, the fatigue that sometimes set in. At the same time, we spend a lot of time making sure our guys will compete in a classroom and take it seriously. And when they don't, just so that you know, from my standpoint, I affect playing time and I affect roles. And if my student athletes are not giving forth the effort, I don't treat them the same. I treat them fairly. I treat my children fairly. I don't treat them the same. But I need them to compete, and I need them to achieve to the highest level they're capable of, and I'm going to hold them to that standard. And when they don't go to class or show the kind of attention that they need to, and I hear about it, then they're not going to start. Then they're not going to get the play calls. If you want you to be eligible to be able to put yourself in that position, you've got to put yourself in that position. And so if they know it matters to me, even if it doesn't matter to them yet, they have no choice. What else? Anything else? We'll take one more. Yes.
Hey, I'm raising 2 little boys, and I look out and I see this room, and it's mostly women. You're coaching young men. How do you inspire men differently than the way we've been inspired to get into service outside of their careers? Are there any takeaways that you have in coaching young men for the length of time that you have for us mothers who are raising little boys?
So you think I would know the difference between inspiring a man or inspiring a woman? You talk to any man in this room, we have no clue how to inspire you, okay? We're just basically trying to stay out of your way and not totally piss you off, okay? That's all we're trying to do. All right? Dr. Goose, can I get an amen on that? Appreciate y'all. War Eagle, thank you.
Let me take a second to give a little testimonial on Bruce Pearl. This man had hardly hit the Auburn campus until he stepped up, found a way, showed up at our hospitality gala. He has been there for us. I have to say athletics in general Clint Myers has done phenomenal work. All the people who have been involved in End Child Hunger in Alabama. And I think too often we don't show these connectors between athletics and academics. I have to mention, we took, well, I won't even talk about Schmid. We did take Camp Eye Care to Schmid Elementary in Chicago this last summer. It's a phenomenal experience, but I wanted to mention that Montravius Adams went with us, was an intern all summer. Elise, what's Elise last? Scott, Elise Scott. Where is Elise? Goalie for the soccer team. Phenomenal student athletes doing phenomenal work. So let's thank Bruce one more time. I'd also like to mention Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill arrived. Where are you? He came over apologizing, saying he was circling the parking lot, trying to get inside. So we're very pleased to have you here with us today. Cannot tell you how appreciative we are of the time that Coach Pearl has taken. We're excited about the basketball season upcoming, and we're all going to be right with you. I guess all I can say one more time is we have a phenomenal Team 360 who work with us at the Carey Center. Sid James, who is Executive Director of the Carey Center, and Kim Walker, who is Director of the Women's Philanthropy Board. That whole group, they do stellar work overall, but I want you to help me thank them for putting this event together. And again, it's going to be a great weekend at Auburn. Thanks for all of you coming today. We need a win, don't we? Yes, we do. Well, let's go get it. War Eagle.